You guys talk to me about love. I remember when I was in high school, everybody talked about it. Everybody sang about it. Everybody wanted love. Everywhere you turned, it seemed like love was like the most important thing you could have in your life. But nobody told us what it meant. Is it the same way now? Is this kind of confusing? Tell me, in your school today, in your generation, what are some of the different things that people think the word love means?
Just a kind of word that people, I mean, the boyfriend and girlfriend uses to associate their relationship.
It's like if you say the word love, then you've like really got a boyfriend or a girlfriend, and you can look at each other's eyes and say, I love you too, okay, love you. And before you hang up the phone, you can say, I love you too, I love you more, no pookums. Okay. What else? Who else?
It's a feeling that you have for the other person.
It's a feeling. I just love you so much. I feel this warm, wonderful, fuzzy feeling. That's a big one. Okay, what else? What we got over here? No, we got one over here.
Cool way to say goodbye. See ya, love ya. You know.
Love you. My brother's saying, love you, mean it. Okay, now let's think about this for a minute. You got all these different definitions of love rolling around, right? It's someone who makes you feel complete. It's someone who gives you companionship. It makes you feel good to say goodbye this way. Somebody looks at you and says, I love you. What does that mean? What are they talking about? If everyone has a different definition of the word love, how do you know what it means when somebody says it to you? I mean, the one thing you need in a language is you need words to mean the same thing for everybody. Like if I said, run over and get me the chair, and you showed up with a car door, I'd say, And you say, well, no, to me, this is a chair. In my reality, my definition of a chair is something that you open and close to get in and out of a car, right? If we don't understand what I love you means, what love means, then the word becomes meaningless. Because if it just means whatever you happen to think it means, then we can't communicate. So let's talk about different meanings of the word love. People throw it around a million different ways. Like they say, give me some examples. I love
Clothes.
I love clothes. I love
My music.
I love
Chimichangas.
I love chimichangas, fried burritos. Those of you who are from the East Coast, those are fried burritos that we eat here in Arizona. Chimichanga.
My parents.
Your parents. Okay, we got a pretty wide variety here, right? You love your parents, you love girls, you love chimichangas. And we're talking some different things here, aren't we? Now, when you say, now let's start with you. You say you love your parents. Oh, I gotta get up again, I forgot about that. You say you love your parents. What are you saying?
I'm saying that I care about them and that I'll do anything for them.
Makes sense. If they needed help, what would you do?
Help them.
If they needed money, what would you do?
Give it to them.
I would too if I had any. To your parents even. Okay, Chris. You love chimichangas. What are you saying? You saying you have a relationship with chimichangas?
I like to eat them.
You like to eat them. That makes sense. You saying you have a relationship with chimichangas?
No.
You saying that if chimichangas had a problem, you would be there for chimichangas?
I don't think I would.
No. Do you love just one particular chimichanga, or do you love like any chimichanga that's made the same that's in front of you?
Yeah.
It's not like you say, oh, I don't like this cheese chimichanga. I loved the other cheese chimichanga. They're like chimichangas, they don't really have personalities for you, do they?
Well, different flavors might, but no.
Yeah,
But the same one.
Same flavor, same thing.
Yeah.
Now you, on the other hand, do you love his parents as much as you love yours?
Probably not.
Do you love his parents in a totally different way than you love yours?
Oh, yeah.
Seeing a pattern here? Different kinds of love. When you say you love a chimichanga, you're not saying you care about it. You're not saying you care what happens to it. Say your dad owns a Mexican restaurant, all right? And because it's cheaper for you to eat at the restaurant, your parents take you there every day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you're eating there. And because you love chimmies, you're eating nothing but chimmies all day. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, every meal, chimichangas, right? You think you could never get too many chimichangas. About 3 weeks later, you find the chimichanga that breaks your chimichanga back. You're just tired of chimichangas. You never want a chimichanga again in your whole entire life. So you go to a party thinking, cool, there's going to be food there. And you get there and they say, man, we made all these chimichangas just for you because, you know, we know your family has a Mexican restaurant and you're really into these things. And there are all these chimichangas with your name on them. And you're saying, no, thank you. And they say, oh, but really, no, we made them for you. And if you don't eat them, they're going to go to waste. Do you care?
No.
If they say, you know, we're going to have to feed them to somebody else, do you care?
No.
If they say, we're going to stick them in the back of the fridge and they might get all green and moldy, do you care?
No.
Correct. Okay. How do you want somebody to love you? The way she loves her parents or the way he loves chimichangas? Parents. I mean, do you want somebody to want what's best for you, to care about what happens to you? Or do you just want somebody to want you around when it's good for them for you to be around and the rest of the time they'll stick you in the back of the fridge till you get all green and moldy? That's not attractive, is it? Next time somebody says, I love you, do this. Look very, very deeply into that person's eyes and say, would that be chimichanga love? Or real love? There's a big difference between chimichanga love and real love. Chimichanga love, formerly known as pizza love, is using. It's seeing another person just as a way for you to get what you want, and you don't care what happens to that person. Now, that might be attractive if you're on the giving end, but it's not so attractive if you're on the receiving end, right? That's using, and nobody wants to be used. That doesn't feel good to be used. Real love means wanting what's best for the other person. That's the definition of love. At the most basic level, real love means wanting what's best for the other person, all right? What does real love mean?
Wanting what's best for the other person.
What does real love mean?
Basically the same thing.
What does real love mean?
Wanting what's best for the other person.
What does real love mean?
Wanting what's best for the other person.
And if anybody said chimichangas, I was going to hit him with the microphone. Okay, so we're set. Real love means wanting what's best for the other person. Definition, that's what we got, right? Okay. Let's talk about loving yourself. You're supposed to love yourself, right? People say that. People say it's good to love yourself. What are some reasons people would have for loving themselves? Like when people say, you know, in your self-esteem class, it's good to love yourself. People start to love themselves. Why? What are some reasons that people would love themselves?
Because of what they can do, the people they hang out with.
Because like they're talented at something or they're like popular. What else?
Like the way they dress or something like that.
The way they dress. Yeah.
Because of things they have that other people may not have.
Stuff they have. All true. These are all reasons that people probably have for loving themselves. Are they good reasons? Let's think about this. All right? Oh, I like it here. I'm staying here all the time. Okay. You are really popular, all right? You're like very talented at football. If you're a girl, this is going to be a stretch, but it's okay. You're like the best player on the whole team. You're the quarterback. You're the coolest, and it makes you so popular. You're like the most popular guy in the whole school, and everybody wants to be your friend. You actually like take applications and interview them. You're like, okay, I suppose you can be my friend. Your credentials are good, and you just think you are so cool because you're so popular. And then it's like the big game of the season, and you're like going back, and you're getting ready to pass, and you get sacked, and there are like 8 million people piled on top of you, and you break your leg. You're out for the season. And little Mr. Second String suddenly is the quarterback. Suddenly he's interviewing. Suddenly he's interviewing your friends. And they're all saying, oh, you're in bed with the cast. We don't like you anymore. What happens to this guy if he likes himself because he's talented? He's in some trouble when he can't do that anymore. What about somebody who really likes herself because she's just beautiful? And she's, I love how beautiful I am, and I love what it does for me, and it's just so neat because people just want to be my friend because I'm beautiful, and I can get anything I want. They literally come up to me and say, yes, I'll give you money. I'll give you huge amount. I'll write you a check just because you're so beautiful, and I love looking at you. Any guesses what's going to happen to her in about 20 years?
She'll get old.
Studies show that she will get old. Statistically, the probability that she will age is fairly high. And maybe if she's really rich and really desperate, she'll go to tons and tons of doctors and get tons and tons of cutting and pasting and tucking and clipping, and they'll have to start closing her up with Velcro for maintenance purposes. But eventually, she's going to get old, and she's not going to be as pretty anymore, and there are going to be newer, younger, prettier people around. If she loves herself because she's pretty, where is she at? She's sunk. So these are not good reasons. Why then should we love ourselves? How about, to demonstrate this, let's go back to the book of Genesis, okay? Remember how God created the whole earth and then he created Adam? And he created Adam and he said, and it was good. The creation of Adam was particularly good. And the creation of Adam was different from the creation of everything else. Who knows why that is? Somebody sitting close to me because I'm comfortable.
Because he created Adam in his own image and likeness, and he created him with the free will to love him or not.
Exactly. He created him in his image and likeness, which means he had a brain and he could make choices, and a soul that was going to live forever. So Adam could choose. Could choose to love, could choose what he was going to do. And Adam was God's ultimate masterpiece. Now, did God create Adam because he needed someone to do him favors? No. Did he create him because he was really talented and he wanted him to amuse him? No. He's a really great juggler, and it was a little dull and boring around here, so we thought, I think I'll create a juggler. No. God created Adam because he loved Adam. Because he thought of the idea of Adam, and he wanted Adam to exist. Adam was his creation. He was his masterpiece. And you know what? So are we. You were not created to do favors for someone else. You were not created because someone else needed you. You were not created for someone else's sake. You were created for your own sake. You were created because God loved you, and God wanted you to exist. Now that's awesome. That's cool. That's where loving ourselves is supposed to come from. Now the question then is, does this just mean that we can just like hang around and be lizards all day and, watch TV, and drink Pepsi and eat chips and say, hey, I'm good just the way I am. I don't need to do anything. I don't need to get better at anything. I don't need to develop my talents. I don't need to help people. I don't need to study because you know what? God loves me just the way I am. What's the flaw with that logic? Anybody? What's the matter with that, with just laying around all day because God loves you just the way you are?
You're not using the talents that God gave you.
Exactly. You're not using the talents that God gave you. Now, that makes you kind of an ingrate, doesn't it? When God created this masterpiece, he created you with talents and with abilities. He created you to be good at things. He created you with gifts. And it's kind of nice if we actually use those gifts for two reasons. One, because it's a reminder. A lot of times, people say, well, I feel better about myself when I'm doing something good, or when I'm doing something that I'm good at. And that's true. But the reason we feel good about ourselves isn't because doing those things makes us better or makes us worthy of love. It's because it reminds us. It reminds us God made you so great that he gave you these certain gifts. And everybody gets different ones. And not everybody gets exactly the same even combination of them. But figuring out what they are and developing them reminds us of how cool our creation is. And the second reason is because he wants us to use those for the sake of other people. Now, think about Adam. Got this sweet old deal, right? He's living, he's got the whole earth to himself. He's got dominion over all the animals. He has significant real estate. He's doing all right. But God says it's not good for man to be alone. Why? What's the matter with being alone? I mean, he's got such a good deal. Adam wasn't created to find fulfillment in that. There was a hole in Adam's heart. Something was missing. He wasn't feeling fulfilled. He wasn't fulfilled. And we all have that same thing too, don't we? We all feel like a buzz, like there's something missing, we don't come into the world fulfilled just for ourselves. And we try to make that feeling go away a lot of different ways, don't we? Give me some examples. What are some things people use to try to make themselves feel fulfilled, to try to make that feeling go away?
Their money.
Money. Money will make me happier. It'll make me feel better. Another thousand, another smile. What else?
Getting a boyfriend or girlfriend.
Getting a boyfriend or girlfriend. With you at my side, I will become complete. What else?
New clothes and stuff.
New clothes. Oh, that doesn't work? Shoot.
Like popularity.
Popularity. If you guys like me, then I've got to be affirmed. Any of those work? No. Ask a rich person. See what they say. Does money make you really, really happy? Ask a beautiful person. Does being beautiful just make your life just great all the time? No. A lot of times they'll probably tell you those things lead to trouble, lead to a lot of problems. There's a reason for this. We don't find fulfillment in power, in looks, in fame, in money. We find fulfillment in relationships. We find fulfillment through loving with real love, which means... Thank you. We find real fulfillment in loving, because that love is coming from God through us, and we're not really happy unless we're sharing it. Because love isn't meant to stop and get jammed up. It's meant to keep going. So that's how we find fulfillment, through what's called self-gift, through giving ourselves in love. So people find that they'll chase careers to try to make them happy. Doesn't work. They think that money's going to make them happy. It's relationship. It's relationship that makes us happy, through real love, through wanting what's best for the other person. That's why God created Eve. Now, God did not create Eve because Adam needed somebody to do his dishes, or make his dinner, or fish the remote out from under the sofa. God created Eve because he loved Eve, because he wanted Eve to exist for her own sake. She wasn't created for Adam's sake. She was created for her own sake. And the cool thing is, Adam said, "This at last is bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh." This is someone I can love for her own sake. I want what's best for her. The cool thing is, Eve was also saying, Adam is good, created for his own sake. I want what's best for him. That's what I want. That's my goal, to look out for what's best for him. So they had a pretty cool relationship. And that's a very good thing. We like that. Okay. All of this leads to a question. Think about this, all right? What about a situation where you're saying, I've got this person in my life, and I just want what's best for this person. All I want is to look out for what's best for this other person. Say this person's female, just for the sake of chat. I want what's best for this person, and it's okay that this person just is really mean to me and steals my money and eggs my car and, sticks stuff in my hair and makes me look dumb and abuses me. It's all okay, because, I just want what's best for her. Okay, we know that's dumb. But why? Where is that kind of an attitude going wrong? If you accept that love is what's best for the other person, what's wrong with this thinking? Ooh, I can lean. No, I can't.
The love doesn't work both ways with these people. The guy is loving the girl for who she is and wants what's best for her, but the girl doesn't want what's best for the guy.
Exactly. Like the one thing in common is that they have is that they both love her. What else? Anything else?
The person who's not getting loved isn't loving themselves either.
Exactly. They're not treating themselves as an image and likeness of God. Okay, let's tear this apart a little bit. Two things. First of all, she's not loving herself. Now, there's a difference between selfishness, which is, I want all the pie. I want all the pieces of the pie because it's good for me to get all the pieces of the pie, and I love myself. That's selfishness. That's seeing yourself as an image and likeness of God and no one else. And plus, you're not going to find fulfillment in relationships because nobody wants to be friends with a pie stealer. It's not good. But the other thing is, you're not looking out for what's best for that person. Because if somebody is being cruel and abusive and mean, they're not recognizing the image and likeness of God in you, correct? That's wrong. That's a sin. All sin is essentially a failure to love, failure to recognize the image and likeness of God. So if they're doing that, if you just keep saying, I'll stay, I'll stay, I'll stay, what are you saying? You're saying it's okay. People always come to me, teens and talks come to me and they say, well, why do guys treat us bad or why do girls treat us bad? And I say, because you let them. Every time you put up with it, every time you say, please stay, please stay, please stay, they get the message that I can treat you bad and nothing's going to happen. So sometimes the loving thing to do is to help somebody see the consequences of their actions. Like, if you're mean to me, I'm not going to be your friend. When you're mean to people, the consequence is they're not your friend anymore. You end up alone. That's how they're going to figure it out, not, please change because I want you to change, stay because I want you to stay, and if I just beg and plead and cry long enough, maybe you'll change. I always think it's important to talk about that because as Christians, we have this tendency. We tend to go, I'm just a nice Christian and I'm just going to look out for what's best for the other person. It's a fine line, but we really have to understand this. Because in churches, probably more than any other place, people say, well, I'm just helping him get off drugs and I'm just getting her to go to church. And they're ripping up their own lives. And of course, the person they're helping is going, So that's what love boils down to. It boils down to wanting what's best for the other person. It boils down to understanding and seeing the image and likeness of God in every human person, whether it's yourself or someone else. Remembering when you're dealing with a person, when you're dealing with yourself, that God is madly, madly in love with whoever this person is and treating them the same way. So that's what love means. Essentially, love means wanting what's best for the other person. That's it. That's the definition. The answer you've all been looking for, everybody in your school's looking for, you got it today. But I'm guessing that leaves some questions, doesn't it? Like, you mean if I want what's best for somebody, it means I'm in love with them? Can you please explain what it means to me when somebody says, well, I love you, but I'm not in love with you? Ever heard that? Or, well, yeah, I love you as a friend. Those are the ones we lay up at night saying, what did that mean? Essentially, we need to talk about that because there are different kinds of love. And we really want to explore that. And we're going to do that. So stay tuned.
Mary Beth Bonacci has been giving talks on love, relationships, and chastity since 1986. She has found a worldwide audience of teens, answering their many questions with the beautiful message of chastity. Her great spirit and down-to-earth approach gives her the ability to communicate effectively with adolescents the importance of love, respect, and honesty with God's gift of sexuality. Her public speaking continues to be in high demand, having been asked by Pope John Paul II to speak at the World Youth Day in Denver. Mary Beth continues her passion for working with adolescents and young adults in Phoenix, Arizona, as a consultant for the Life Teen program.